sometimes make you something special?
Because I'm allergic.
What are you allergic to?
Is
And
butter.
wrong milk.
Okay. And what happened when you had the wrong milk?
I got sick
You got
Can you explain how you got sick?
because I had drank the wrong milk.
So what sort of sick did you get?
Milk sick.
To talk about Sadie, because when she was first trying solids, we found out that she was allergic to dairy, and it was a bit of a learning curve for us. 5, 6-month-old babies was pretty messy. She had it all over her face. I was confident that some was going in, but not a lot, and all up her hands, etc. So once I thought she'd had enough, I thought I'll just clean her off. I realised that her hands were bright red and up to her elbow, and had started to swell up. And then when I started to wash off her face, I realised that all around her face was exactly the same. It had all gone red and was starting to get quite swollen. So I had no idea whether this was going to then suddenly turn into anaphylaxis. I had a big panic. My first call was straight to my GP and just said, what should I do? My initial thought was that there must have been something in the formula. And it must be because she hadn't had formula before, must have been some sort of reaction there. It didn't actually even occur to me at that point that it was a dairy allergy, because my first port of call was to speak to you to see where to go to next. Because to be honest, it was all a bit of a minefield. I didn't really know how what we were meant to do, how she should be treated, or what sort of food we should be going for, or what the degree of the allergy, whether we should worry about items that said may contain traces of milk, etc. Been left completely with no idea, had I not spoken with you about what sorts of things to look out for in packaging, and what sorts of what alternatives there were available to make sure that she was getting a balanced diet. I found that sort of time frame quite difficult because of so much of the sort of toddler-friendly finger foods were all, there was a lot of sort of cheese and things in them, which is great for non-allergic kids. The key thing is to talk to an expert first, as soon as you can. I can't reiterate enough how helpful our discussions have been over the last few years, because it's easy to get yourself worked up about it and think it's just the worst thing. It's such a big sort of mind shift for you. Other people don't necessarily understand it. There's a lot of misinformation around, and a lot of people that will confuse lactose intolerance with cow's milk protein allergy, who might be well-meaning but will give you plenty of advice about it. And also, to be honest, there's a lot of people that don't think lactose intolerance is really a thing. So when they think that's what you're saying your child has, I can sort of feel the eye roll sometimes when I'm not looking. But in terms of practical advice, yes, batch cooking I found super helpful. I just got in a bit of a routine where probably once a week I just cook up a huge lot of something that I know that she eats, spaghetti bolognese or something with loads of veggies that get blitzed, and finding good snacks and things that they like, and you can freeze like little muffins and things that you can come up with. What else is helpful? I think learning what to look for on packets, learning how to read the back of packets. So it's nowhere near as daunting as a first timer might think. Obviously you wouldn't think it's daunting. I remember the first time looking at it and thinking, oh, how do I tell? But learning how the allergens have to be highlighted, and then getting that advice about the whole may be present type thing. We just went straight ahead with anything that said may be present. And to be quite honest, I have virtually not come across a packet that doesn't say may be present, which it would have been exceptionally challenging if we had to avoid all of that. Even items that say, that market themselves as dairy free. Flip side is that if we are out and about and we order something for them, we'll say at the cafe, etc., well, can you please check if there's any dairy in that particular product? And if someone looks at the packet and says, I've just had a look and it says may contain traces of milk, so we won't do that. And when we say, oh no, that's okay, once again, I feel that sort of eye roll moment that I think that the person's walked away thinking, well, she can't be that allergic. We've had certain family members that when we've said, you know, Sadie can't have that, it's got dairy in it, where there's been sort of like a bit of a pause and a bit of a, oh, okay, or did this diagnosis come from, or what really is a dairy allergy? And I think I wish you were there to see what she looks like when she's had the odd exposure. I mean, we've had family members that have said they know about the dairy allergy and they haven't specifically queried it, but then they'll say something like, oh, would Sadie like a bit of cheese? And then we've said, no, she can't have cheese. Is she not allowed cheese? No, of course not. She's allergic to dairy. It sort of is a little bit back to that comment I made earlier about people not really understanding the difference between allergy and intolerance, particularly about the fact that we choose soy milk, soy yogurt as our preferred dairy alternative, based on your advice, based on advice of loads, you know, all the professionals that we've spoken to here and in the UK, in terms of it being I think the most complete alternative for what you get out of it. However, there are plenty of people that have told me and that I've read online that are hell bent on the idea that soy is absolutely terrible for you, and that it causes infertility, that it has estrogen in it. I'm a member of a few different mums groups on Facebook, which can be really wonderful places to find support or to get information, etc. So they're great. But whenever I see anyone ask anything about a dairy allergy, I just have to quickly scroll on by, which is terrible because it should be something that, with my experience, I could actually give some helpful advice on. But the once or twice when I have dared to give advice, the number of people, lay people who I will assume have not had the benefit of expert advice, that were willing to tell me all sorts of nonsense about the devil that is soy milk. And I did just want to share with you a lovely experience that I had when I took the children, my husband and I took the kids to a cafe, a new cafe that had a really good reputation as being really welcoming of kids. So we went and ordered coffees and a fluffy for Sadie, soy fluffy. As we were paying, the barista came over and said, I'm just going to use almond milk instead of soy milk. And she said, oh, it tastes much nicer anyway. I think, yeah, that's fine. Sadie, of course, is used to soy milk, so she thinks it tastes just fine. Then she brought over the almond milk fluffy for us and sat it down and said, yes, I won't heat up soy milk, because when you heat up soy milk, it becomes carcinogenic. Oh, so you really mustn't give your daughter that. And I had to really bite my tongue not to say much